Hello there and welcome back. This is Beyond World is One. We are glad you're watching. Thank you for joining us at this hour. I'm Eric Njoka. Let's begin with the headlines. An overnight Ukrainian drone attack on an oil depot near Russia's Black Sea resort of Sochi sparked a major fire. This as the two countries continue to trade strikes. Dormant volcano erupts for the first time in 600 years in Russia. This comes days after one of the strongest earthquakes on record hit the country's eastern Kamchatka region. Israeli protesters block a main Tel Aviv highway in calls to bring back all hostages held in Gaza for 667 days. Protesters carry huge photos of hostages, drum and chant for their release. Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir visits the Flashpoint Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem, known to Jews as Temple Mount, says he prayed there, calls for a complete Israeli takeover of the Gaza Strip. Indian forces continue their anti-terror operation in Jammu and Kashmir's Kulgam for the third day. So far, 8 terrorists have been killed in 3 operations in a week. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Mohammad Ishaq Dar holds talks with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian in Islamabad during the second day of the president's official visit to Pakistan. Pope Leo celebrates the largest event yet of his nearly 3-month tenure, encouraging a crowd of more than 1 million Catholic young people gathered in a field on the outskirts of Rome to spread their faith.
I'm Tanya Rivero.
And I'm Joe Torres. We'll get to those stories and the beautiful weather in just a moment, but we begin with an ICE detainment that sparked immediate calls for transparency and change.
2 days ago, Yeon-Soo Go appeared for her routine court date. She was scheduled for an immigration hearing, but then disaster struck and she was detained by ICE agents just minutes after walking out of that hearing. Today, dozens gathered in support of ICE detainees like her. Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore has details.
Flowers adorn the fence outside Federal Plaza Immigration Court as religious and city leaders beat the drums in support of loved ones detained by ICE agents.
We're watching neighbors from across New York City getting disappeared.
One of the latest, 20-year-old Yeon-Soo Go, the daughter of beloved Episcopal priest Kyrie Kim and a graduate of Scarsdale High School in Westchester County. The South Korean native moved here in 2021 with her mom. A lawyer close to the case tells me Go had an application to extend her current visa, which was set to expire in December. She was ordered to appear in court on Thursday for a procedural hearing on the application. According to the lawyer, the judge gave Go a date to return to court in October, but ICE agents met her outside the building.
Her mom was really just in denial and she was heartbroken. And when she called me at night later that day, she was breaking down.
Go spoke to her boyfriend and friends before the hearing.
She has been a little nervous, given the climate, and reasonably so, and now her fears have come true.
Her mother gets regular calls from Young Soo, and she's staying at 26 Federal Plaza, which, as we all know, is not actually a facility that has showers or beds or hot food. And so the detentions here are not only illegal, but they're immoral.
The New York Immigration Coalition says these types of arrests are happening more and more and offers this advice if you have an upcoming immigration hearing.
I think it's critically important that anyone who needs to go to an immigration court hearing call the New York State Office of New Americans and their hotline, and making sure that you create a family preparedness plan.
And if possible, work with your lawyer to set up a virtual hearing. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security regarding this case, but have yet to hear back. In the meantime, community members hope their demands to release Go echo throughout Federal Plaza.
She truly does live a life of service.
In Lower Manhattan, Crystal Fanmore, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Los Angeles officials are praising an appeals court ruling limiting immigration stops, but the decision may only escalate a battle over transparency and control. CBS's Elise Preston is in Los Angeles tonight with the latest information. Elise.
Good evening, Jerika. An appeals court has kept the order blocking the roving ICE patrols here in Southern California, a move LA Mayor Karen Bass says is a huge win for the city.
The court essentially affirmed the rule of law. This is a victory upholding the Constitution.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass reacting to Friday's decision by the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, upholding a temporary restraining order halting indiscriminate immigration stops and arrests.
There has been peace in the city. There has not been masked men riding recklessly up and down the street, snatching people. That has stopped.
What you're doing is kidnapping. Under the Fourth Amendment, reasonable suspicion cannot be based solely on race or ethnicity, language spoken, location, or employment. The ruling applies to 7 Southern California counties. Today, the Department of Homeland Security criticized the decision, saying, quote, unelected judges are undermining the will of the American people. What makes someone a target of ICE is if they are illegally in the U.S., not their skin color, race, or ethnicity.
Why are you covering your face, bro?
LA County is also drafting a law that would bar federal immigration agents and other law enforcement from concealing their identities with masks and other items. Supervisor Janice Hahn is spearheading the effort.
If you're going to come into LA County and interact with our public, they have a right to know who you are. We'll probably get sued over it, but I say see you in court.
About 250 National Guard troops are here in LA. There had been as many as 4,000 deployed here this summer. Now, the remaining 250 guardsmen will protect the personnel and federal buildings like this one, according to the Pentagon. Protesters here say 250 is far too many. They want the troops and ICE out of the city.
Breaking news, an earthquake reported in New Jersey tonight. Thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Rana Novini. This earthquake happened in the past hour. People all across our area reporting that they felt it, including here in the city. We want to get to Storm Team 4 meteorologist Matt Brickman with what we know about this earthquake, Matt.
Initially, the report here is that this is a magnitude 3.0 earthquake centered right around Hasbrook Heights, Rana. It happened just before 10:20 this evening. And to give you some comparison for this, some context, you remember that earthquake about a year ago in April of last year. That one was a magnitude 4.8. The way the Richter scale works is that it goes up logarithmically. So from a 3.0 to a 4.0, we're talking about a 10 times stronger earthquake. So what we had a year ago was nearly 20 times stronger. Also, that one a year ago was closer to the surface. That creates more violent shaking. Now, earthquakes are not uncommon in this part of the country. There is a nearby fault line, the Ramapo Fault, which is close to where that Tewksbury earthquake was a year ago. This one coming a little bit further to the east in Hasbrook Heights, but a 3.0, hopefully just some light shaking. We'll see what sort of reports we get out of this. Obviously something
All right, moving on, a dormant volcano in Kamchatka has erupted for the first time in 600 years. This is the second volcano to erupt in the region after a huge earthquake that rocked Russia's Far East and triggered tsunami warnings last week. Now, pictures released by Russian state media show a towering plume of ash spewing from the Krashenikov volcano. Kamchatka's Ministry of Emergency Situations said in a post on Telegram that the plume is estimated to have reached an altitude of 6,000 meters. The volcano has been assigned an orange aviation hazard code. The ministry added, meaning flights in the area may be disrupted. It came after Klyuchevskoye, another volcano in the region, the highest active in Europe and Asia, erupted on Wednesday. Eruptions of Klyuchevskoye are quite common, with at least 8 occurring since 2000, according to the Global Volcanism Program. Now, both recent eruptions followed one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded, which struck on Wednesday, sparking tsunami warnings and evacuations of millions of people from coastal areas from Japan to Hawaii to Ecuador. The worst damage was seen in Russia, where a tsunami crashed through the port of Severokurilsk and submerged a fishing plant, officials said. The magnitude 8.8 quake struck off Petropavlovsk on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula and was the strongest since 2011, when a magnitude 9.1 quake of Japan caused a tsunami that killed more than 15,000 people. Meanwhile, a 7-magnitude earthquake hit the nearby Kuril Islands on Sunday. The nation's Ministry for Emergency Services said that tsunami waves were possible in 3 areas of Kamchatka after the latest tremors. The ministry said on the Telegram messaging app, after the latest seismic activity in the area, the expected wave heights are low, but you must still move away from the shore. The Pacific Tsunami Warning System, which gauged the quake at magnitude 7.0, said, however, there was no tsunami warning after the quake.
A blaze that's been raging out of control for close to a month at the Grand Canyon has hit a dangerous new milestone. It's reached mega fire status, so intense it's even creating its own weather.
On the northern rim of the Grand Canyon, angry orange clouds. They're known as pyrocumulus, a rare weather phenomenon created by intense heat from bushfires. And this one, dubbed the Dragon Bravo fire in Arizona, is relentless and extreme. It was sparked by a lightning strike and has been burning out of control now for close to a month. It's officially reached mega fire status after more than doubling in size in the past week, now with a footprint of around 47,000 hectares.
Extreme fire behavior, something that many folks have never seen before.
The fires scorched an historic Grand Canyon lodge, cabins and a visitors centre, and it's filled the northern part of the canyon with dense smoke. When the blaze first broke out, the National Park Service Office chose to manage it as a controlled burn, a forest management method. They could instead have immediately smothered the flames. Strong winds caused embers to jump containment lines and crews lost control. Historically dry conditions and the unique terrain has made it so hard to get the upper hand.
The Grand Canyon and the canyons that come off of it, they call those kind of finger canyons coming off the main one. They create their own wind tunnels, and that is very hard to fight.
An extreme heat warning and gusty winds will continue at the Grand Canyon through until mid-next week. This is a fight that's far from over. In the United States, Reid Butler, 9 News.
India has increased operational naval presence in the neighborhoods. 3 Indian Navy ships have arrived in Manila, while a 4th is taking part in joint exercises with the Singapore Navy as part of India's deployment to Southeast Asia amid growing regional tensions. This deployment counters China's expanding influence in the Indo-Pacific. The guided missile destroyer INS Delhi, anti-submarine warfare corvette INS Kiltan, and fleet tanker INS Shakti have docked in Manila. Rear Admiral Sushil Menon, Eastern Fleet Commander and Task Group Leader, says that India and the Philippines share a commitment to regional security. He stressed that such port calls are vital for building trust and interoperability among like-minded naval forces. A bilateral naval exercise with the Philippine Navy is planned, involving joint maneuvers and communication protocols to enhance operational readiness, mutual trust and synergy in the maritime domain. While stealth frigate INS Satpura is participating in the 32nd SIMBEX exercise, the Republic of Singapore Navy reinforcing the enduring maritime partnership between India and Singapore.
And the Indian Embassy in Ireland has issued an advisory following an increase in attacks on Indians. Now, there have been at least 3 instances of attacks on Indian citizens last month alone, mostly carried out by gangs of teenagers. The Indian Embassy in a post on X advised Indian citizens to take precautions for their personal safety and avoid deserted areas during odd hours. The embassy added that it was in touch with Irish authorities regarding the attacks and also issued an emergency contact number for help. The first incident of attack involving a person of Indian origin emerged on July 19th when an Indian man was attacked by a group of teenagers in Tala. He was stabbed while he was walking to the temple. The unprovoked assault had left the Indian man bleeding and had his trousers removed. The second attack took place on July 24th when an Indian man in his 20s was attacked on a tram stop in Dublin. He was stabbed with a screwdriver and was beaten by teenagers. The man was taken to Mater Misericordiae Hospital for treatment of serious injuries. Now, the more recent attack happened on July 28th in Dublin as well. And this time, a senior data scientist was targeted while he was returning to his apartment after dinner. He was assaulted by 6 teenagers from behind. Santosh Yadav suffered a cheekbone fracture and was taken to Connolly Hospital, Blanchardstown. Yadav recounted the ordeal in a social media post, saying that he was severely beaten by the group who broke his glasses and left him bleeding on the pavement. Yadav said that the attack was not an isolated incident and that Indians as well as other minorities were living in constant fear due to the lack of action against the culprits. The Indian community in Ireland has since staged multiple protests in this regard, who are calling for an end to racism and justice for Indian victims. Police in Tennessee were in for a shock during a routine arrest. They discovered 14 improvised explosive devices or IEDs in a man's house. Polk County Sheriff's deputies were executing an arrest warrant for 54-year-old Kevin Wade, who threatened to kill public officials and law enforcement personnel. Well, they noticed something strange in the room. Upon closer inspection, they found it was an active IED. Officers immediately evacuated the house and called in the bomb squad, along with federal agents from the ATF. O'Neill had reportedly planned to detonate the devices as law enforcement arrived at his residence to arrest him. The explosive devices were all built and hidden inside his home. The charges against him are severe: 11 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 14 counts of prohibited weapons, and 1 count of possessing explosive components. He is now being held at the Polk County Jail. Authorities are also looking into any deeper motives behind his actions.